Hal here from allmediareviews.blogspot.com. Just going to make a video of some of the recent physical items I have picked up. And I'm going to largely talk about one band, but let me, in fact, yeah, I'll do that first. So, the story goes that I was looking for some apes and androids. I love apes and androids. Maybe I need to do a separate video on them. I probably do. I've talked about them in the past. But and ever since that, fallen in love with them from their album Blood Moon in 2008. I've wanted to find another. They broke up, the two guys, the two masterminds behind Apes and Androids, David Tobias and Brian Jacobs. Anyway, I've wanted to find a band or album that sort of captures what they were doing with that sort of electronic, psych, prog, Queen, Pink Floyd-y kind of elements. I've never found a band that really did it. I mean, I found a couple that I liked a lot, and a lot of those bands aren't around that came after them, or I found out about after that point. So, but I was on Spotify and also on YouTube looking for an Apes and Androids track called Endless Dream, which I heard years ago. I think I downloaded, but that's an old hard drive. And a guy on YouTube and on Spotify had all these Apes and Androids tracks, including Endless Dream, he had uploaded. So, and I was looking at the rest of some of his other uploads and stuff. He had Toy Matinee in there. He had Under the Influence of Giants, who are a band I really like. They only had the one album, unfortunately, too. But he had this band called Brian Scary, who is progressive rock of a kind, who I'm in the process of checking out and liking. But he also had a band called Eldren, E-L-D-R-E-N, who are a band from Denver, Colorado. And it's three guys, really, but I checked out both Brian Scary and Eldren. I'm still working on Brian Scary because some of the music is a little goofy, but some of it's like piano rock. But anyway, that's for a later time. I'm still working on that. But Eldren, I've specifically with their album from 2018, Misinformation Aged, I've just absolutely gone, I've become addicted to, and I bought the vinyl, as you can see here. This, in fact, when I first listened to the whole thing in full, I had this sort of revelation, like, maybe this is finally the Apes and Androids Blood Moon sequel. Which, maybe that's unfair. I don't even know if the guys in Eldren have ever even heard of or heard any music from them. But I would describe this similar to Apes and Androids in some ways, in that they use a lot of electronic, synths, and they use a lot of, sort of atmospheric guitars, and also have callbacks to the 70s. Here's the vinyl. It's this purple thing. But I would say it's not just like Apes and Androids. It's the indie-tronica, electronic rock for the 21st century, whatever. It's a cool looking purple vinyl. And it's not even the album isn't even as long as Blood Moon, but I guess it shares a lot of qualities with Apes and Androids, or Call Florence Power, they were previously known, but also I would say like Daft Punk, and there's also a retro element, like a Pink Floyd or Beatles, especially psych element. I guess Daft Punk, and then as much as I'm not a fan of Tame Impala, I would think that they came out around the same time as Tame Impala, a little bit after, but not much. But this album itself, I mean, it's the second vocals. There's one lead main vocalist. Should get the sheet out here, and then there's a second vocalist, and they have another album. They have two albums actually that came out before this. Oh geez, I just did a number on that. But it's more than three members in this. But Tyler Imbrogno, Nasir Malik, and Josh Lee, I think are the core. And then they have this guy named Mason Shellmeyer on bass, Forrest Raup, he's the drummer, and Jake Mulhern. Oh, he's just a live visual. But the three guys, Tyler, Nasir, and Josh, I've seen interviews and stuff. In history, you go down to YouTube, there's some clips from a few years back before this album came out. But Nasir, I think, is the one who sounds a lot like Daniel Johns, who's not the first singer. There's a singer who sang on Kimbra's album back in 2011 that sounded a lot like Daniel Johns from Silverchair and Disassociatives. But Yeah, I mean, I hear elements of Daft Punk. I hear elements of Team Me, or there's a huge psych element to this. But The songs are there. I'd say just from a single, like catchy sort of catchy or memorable moments. The kind of the segue. This album really flows well. That's part of it. That's like Blood Moon. It just from beginning to end. The segues really work really well in this album. I don't know if it's a concept album about space. I mean, even this looks like a Blood Moon kind of on the cover, but the song "We Just Want the World" that could be a pop tune. It's very charismatic, very sort of uplifting, memorable, earwormy. It almost reminds me of like the Family Crest in some ways. I forget the song off of Beneath the Brine that's got that sort of uplifting sort of, and it's got this violin part that leads it or kind of complements it and harmonizes with the main melodies and the themes. But then Take the Wheel and Still Want More. Still Want More is the one that features, I believe it's Nasir. That one, it almost sounds like a Daft Punk, like off of Random Access Memories. It reminds me a little bit of. And then there's Apocalypse Town, which I think for the prog folks, that's the track that would be worth checking out. The synths sort of in the segue is just crazy. It's very atmospheric. NWO is like a chill piece with piano. It's very kind of cinematic. Kind of like Blood Moon, or there's a few other albums that... Janelle Monáe would be another one who I'd say they probably could have drawn influence from, specifically from the Arc Android, her first album. I don't know, again, Blood Moon, it talks about androids and technology, and I don't know if it's set in a different part of the world, different part of the universe for that matter, but this record is it's very sort of story-based, very sci-fi-ish in some ways. They're called funk. One description is, and there are some tracks that are kind of funky. I want to say toward the end, Mr. made the title track. That's very psychic. The vocals are very distorted points, but or distorted or very. I don't know what describes distorted vocals, but yeah, I would say if you like modern psych, if you're a Tame Impala fan for that matter, or King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard, I mean, this band really accomplished something with this. Now, they have a couple other records, and I also could show... I did, because I'm so into this, I also I purchased the compact disc. But you get the same kind of deal. It's just, you don't get the large book, but... Yeah, Apocalypse Town might be my go-to track. I don't know. That song is just crazy, the synths and the build-up on that. But... I would say, yeah, they have two other records, a self-titled, which is sort of like out of print, but I just found someone on Amazon that was carrying it, so hopefully I'm going to get that in the mail. And then that came out in like 2012 or 2013. That was their debut album. And then 2015, they had an album called Welcome to Deathville, which also I think is a concept album, and I've listened to a couple times, and I like it. I think most of the vocals are done by just the guy, the guy who, I don't know if Nasir does any. I think it's Tyler who does almost all the vocals on that particular record. But they're from Denver, Colorado. They did some covers recently during lockdown and some other stuff. I think some of the members may have moved to another part of the country, like Tennessee or something like that. But they did some interesting covers from Led Zeppelin to I'm trying to remember. The Led Zeppelin Deermaker is a very different interpretation, but some of their covers are more straightforward. I can't even remember off the top of my head all the different covers they did, but yeah, Eldren. I gotta thank the gentleman on YouTube. Maybe next time I'll try to get his name. His name is like Tyler or something. His name starts with a T, and he's been actually suggesting some other music. And Brian Scary is one that I still need to check out more because I think he's a huge Brian Scary fan. Also being an Apes and Androids fan, but. So, the other items I picked up recently, I did get the Dirt Poor Robin's Dead Horse full vinyl, as I have the CD already. I showed that in another video, but this is the album that was released, 3 EPs, and then these like interludes. One of them's pink, sort of a pink splash there, as you can see. And this is like was the Eldren record from 2018, Misinformation Aged, is only one disc. This is a long enough record because, like I said, it's 3 APs plus they added some extra tracks to really make this a full, theatrical, cinematic sort of thing. But this one I think is like purple. Which, you know, it goes along with the light. Light makes it look different angles. It's weird. Yeah, I mean, I still love this record. I think it would still be my number one record at this point from 2020. But yeah, it's the 3 EPs. I forgot. It's Onyx is the black one. It was black and became so it's red, gold, and onyx, and it's like 14 or 15 songs from those 3 EPs, and then Dead Horse 77, 2077, and 3077. It's like part of the concept, you know. And I can read what this. I can show this, but we had every reason to say it was, quote, implausible, unbelievable, impossible, unquote. But alas, we now understand we were wrong, for when young Theodora stumbled upon, quote unquote, it among the smoldering fuselage in Dead Horse, Alaska, it would forever alter the course of her world and our world. You know, I should watch the video that, if it's still up, that Neil and Kate did about, you know, talking about the story. I know they talked about the Raven Locks. I was thinking I probably should do a video comparing and contrasting these two. The best songs are still, to me, All There Is in Wax, or All There Is in Skyrider. Those are the most hooky, memorable themes with the motifs that stand out and don't leave your mind. But I think those narrative parts that have like a, you know, old time radio, and it's kind of captured sort of the story of humankind and technology, and, you know, I don't know if this is like a post-apocalyptic thing where the rest of the world is gone except this part of Alaska, and it's been taken over by technology. I'm not sure, but the Saints 1, Saints 2, they do reference when the Saints go marching in, of course. That's another thing I forgot to mention in past videos. But, you know, and comparing this to the Raven Locks, I don't know, I thought this was the one I preferred between the two, and the Raven Locks, of course, had 3 different albums. It was released as one compilation. Now I'm sort of on the fence. It's almost like splitting hairs. It's like a dead heat between the two. But I don't know. I need to sit down and actually read the lyrics. I don't think they didn't give us the lyrics on here, but I think the lyrics might be online or in my CD, and then I can sort of understand more about the story here with Dead Horse, Alaska, or Dead Horse. Durparambas presents Dead Horse, and now they're making a film called Queen of the Night, and they released a new song. They released a new song last fall, I recall, but also a new song within the last month, a few weeks ago, which I don't know off the top of my head, but it's good to see that Durparambas in lockdown and during COVID times are still very active and doing a lot of work, you know. But yeah, the film Queen of the Night, I don't know when it's going to be available, but, you know, if you follow Neil deGrasse or Durparambas' Instagram, you'll see him posting almost every day photos from the shoot. It's in black and white, at least the makeup looks very like retro, vaudevillian, ragtimey. So the third and last item, which I'm probably going to show again when I do the mid-season, hopefully I'll do a mid-season video this coming week, is the new album from the local Minnesota jazz rock, new grass, prog band, the Galactic Cowboy Orchestra. It's like their 5th or 6th album. I don't remember the name of their last album, and they had All Out of Peaches and the first album, which I'm blanking on. But they released, this is like their 5th or 6th CD. They do even a cover of 21st Century Schizoid Man, as you can see, which they played live too. They also covered Southside Sky from Yes at one point, but it's not on here. But this is like mostly instrumental. There's like 3 or 4 songs that Lisi Wright, the fiddle violin player, does sing on. It's weird because John Wright does a lot of vocals in his other group, Lato and Wright, but he doesn't really sing on this, that I don't believe. But it's you know, I don't think stylistically this is that different than some of the other Galactic Cowboy Orchestra albums. I like the cover art with the mouse and the cheese and the cheese going away. But it's good that they released a new album, you know. I think it was a couple of years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, their last one. Zombie Mouth was one of the most recent ones, and I have that on vinyl, actually. But I know they have a new drummer, Their previous drummer, after blanking on his name, hasn't been with them, but the new drummer has been with them for 5 years, so it's not that new. His name is Alec. But the other three, John and Lacey Wright and Dan Neal, are still part of the band. They're somewhat known in the prog rock scene because they played Prog Day, and they may have toured across the East Coast at one point a few years back. So, they're not completely Minnesota-based, but, us prog fans in Minnesota, of course, do know them or probably should know them. So, anyway, yeah, and this came out in April. So, I mean, if I went with a couple songs I like the most on this CD, I Got It is probably the most catchy. The title track, which opens the album, All for the Taking, Jazz Crimes, which is also a Josh Redman piece. I think it's because it's Redman. So I think it's Josh Redman. So, but anyway, I'm just getting to know it. It's busy, technical, a lot of bass-driven parts in here. It's jazz fusion of a sort, modern jazz rock with a bluegrass influence, especially with Lacey's violin. And their vocals have added a new element the last couple albums, because I think the last album she sang on, and I don't know if it was Zombie Mouth was the first one, but she sang on the last few records, so they're starting to be not all instrumental anymore. So, but anyway, I got some other plans. Like I said, the albums of the year, mid-season, hopefully I can do, mentioning most, showing a few. And then I was thinking about making more videos on concert memories with the ticket stubs, as I've talked about. Plus I have, like I said, these boxes and boxes of posters here. That might be an interesting take to do videos on that. And I'd like to do some stuff on some videos about, with the slideshows, talking over it, the matter of being able to record the audio. I don't have software that allows me to literally have creating the video. I don't know, I haven't figured that out yet, but yeah, I have that as far as plans. I mean, of course, barely anyone's finding these videos at this point. It may take weeks, months, years even. But thank you for watching. If you haven't watched, please subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. But there was one other point I was going to mention before I say goodbye here, and I'm spacing on. And I may just do some other videos, like on movies and television. I have a lot of like DVDs, of course. Of course, everyone does. I could show some of my DVD collection and television DVD collection, and more on my baseball and football and basketball cards, perhaps, because I've been trying to look up the values on that stuff. So, but yeah. So thank you for watching. Who's your favorite psych band? I mean, are you a Tame Impala fan? So, but I'll talk to you later. Thanks. Bye.